Hello students, this is your economics teacher Ayana. I hope you are well and utilizing the time wisely.
In the previous class, you learned about chapter 6 distribution analysis. Today, you are going to learn about chapter 7 Indian economy. First, we will discuss meaning of growth and development, Indian economy and its futures, weakness of Indian economy and demographic trends in India. Students, watch this video very carefully till the end. Fine, let us enter into the chapter. First, we will discuss the meaning of growth and development. Student, take the page number 143. Meaning of growth and development. A country's economic growth is usually measured by national income, indicated by gross domestic product. The level of economic development is indicated not just by GDP but by an increase in citizens' quality of life or well-being. The quality of life is being assessed by several indicators such as Human Development Index, Physical Quality Life of Index and Cross National Happiness Index. Okay, what is meant by Human Development Index? Human Development Index is a holistic measure of living levels. The Human Development Report 1977 describes human development as follows. The process of widening people's choices and the level of well-being they achieve are at the core of the nation of human development. But regardless of the level of development, the three essential choices for people are to lead a long and healthy life, to acquire knowledge and to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living. Human development does not end here. People want to have political, economic and social freedom, opportunities for being creative and productive and enjoy self-respect and guaranteed human rights. It is true that income is very important for people, but it is only a means and human development is the end. The first Human Development Report was published in 1990 by UNDP under guidance of Mohammed ul Haq, an eminent economist from Pakistan. Economic growth will concentrate most to poverty reduction when it expands the employment, increase productivity and wages of poor people, and public resources must be directed to promoting human development. Only when economic growth is labor using and employment generating and when human skills and health improve rapidly, economic growth will promote economic development. The Human Development Index rank all countries on a scale of O, lowest human development, to 1, highest human development, based on three goals of development: longevity as measured by life expectancy at birth, knowledge as measured by a weighted average of adult literacy, 2/3, and mean year of schoolings, 1/3, and standard of living as measured by purchasing power parity of each country's currency to reflect cost of living. Using these three measures of development, Human Development Index ranks all countries into three groups: low human development 0.0 to 0.499, medium human development 0.50 to 0.799, and high human development 0.80 to 1.0. According to HDR 2004, India found people in medium human development group. One major advantage of Human Development Index is that it tells that even countries with a low level of income can achieve better human development than countries with sustainable incomes. The Human Development Index points out there are greater disparities in income than the other indicators of development such as health and education measures. So by development, we mean broad human development, not just higher income. Some countries, oil-rich countries, it is said, experienced growth without development. Next, cross-national happiness index. The term cross-national happiness was coined in 1972 during an interview by a British journalist for the Financial Times at Bombay airport when the king of Bhutan, Jigme Jingi Wangchuk, said cross-national happiness is more important than cross-national product. In 2011, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution, Happiness Towards a Holistic Approach to Development, urging member nations to follow the examples of Bhutan and measure happiness and well-being and calling happiness a fundamental human goals. The four pillars of cross-national happiness are First, sustainable and equitable socio-economic development. Second, environmental conservation. Third, preservation and promotion of culture. Fourth, good governance. The 9 domains of cross-national happiness: psychological well-being, health, time use, education, cultural diversity and relations, good governance, community vitality, ecological diversity and resilience and living standards. On the basis of the level of economic development, nations are classified as developed and developing economics. Developed economics are those countries which are industrialized, utilize their resources efficiently and have high per capita income. The USA, Canada, UK, France and Japan are some of the developed economics. Developed economics are also termed as advanced countries. On the other hand, countries which have not fully utilized their resources like land, mines, workers, etc. and have low per capita income are termed as underdeveloped economics. Examples of underdeveloped countries are Sub-Saharan Africa, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Pakistan, Indonesia, etc. They are also termed as underdeveloped countries or backward nation or third world countries. Secondly, you are going to learn about Indian economy and its futures. Indian economy is the 7th largest economy of the world, being one of the top listed countries in terms of industrialization and economic growth. India holds a robust position with an average growth rate of 7% approximately. Even the rate of growth has been sustainable and comparatively stable. There are still signs of backwardness. Features of developed economy. First features: high national income. Second, high per capita income. Third, high standard of living. Fourth, full employment of resources. Fifth, dominance of industrial sector. Sixth, high level of technology. Seventh, high industrialization. Eighth, high consumption level. Ninth, high level of urbanization. Tenth, smooth economic growth. 11th, social equity, gender equality and low level of poverty. 12th, political stability and good governance. Next, strength of Indian economy. First, strength. India has a mixed economy. Indian economy is a typical examples of mixed economy. This means both private and public sector coexist and functions smoothly. On the other hand, some of the fundamental and heavy industrial units are being operated under the public sector, while due to the liberalization of the economy, the private sector has gained importance. This makes it is a perfect model for public and private partnership. Second, agriculture plays the key role. Agriculture being the maximum pursued occupation in India, it plays an important role in its economy as well. Around 60% of population in India depends upon agriculture for their livelihoods. In fact, about 17% of our GDP today is contributed by the agricultural sectors. Green Revolution, Evergreen Revolution and invention in biotechnology have made agriculture self-sufficient and also surplus production. The export of agricultural products such as fruits, vegetables, spices, vegetable oils, tobacco, animal skin, etc. also add to forex earnings through international tradings. Third, an emerging market. India has emerged as a vibrant economy, sustaining stable GDP growth rate even in the midst of global downtrend. This has attracted significant foreign capital through FDI and FII. India has a high potential for prospective growth. This also makes it an emerging market for the world. Fourth, emerging economy. Emerging as a top economy giant among the world economy, India backs the 7th positions in terms of nominal gross domestic product and third in terms of purchasing power parity. As a result of rapid economic growth, Indian economy has a place among the G20 countries. Fifth, fast growing economy. India's economy is well known for high and sustained growth. It has emerged as the world's fastest growing economy in the year 2016 up to 2017 with the growth rate of 7.1% in GDP next to People's Republic of China. Sixth, fast growing service sector. The service sector contributes a lion's share of the GDP in India. There has been a high rise growth in the technical sectors like information technology, BPO, etc. These sectors have contributed to the growth of the economy. This emerging service sector has helped the country global and helped in spreading its branches around the world. Seventh, large domestic consumption. With the faster growth rate in the economy, the standard of living has improved a lot. This in turn has resulted in rapid increase in domestic consumption in the country. The standard of living has considerably improved and lifestyle has changed. Rapid growth of urban areas. Urbanization is a key ingredient of the growth of any economy. There has been a rapid growth of urban area in India after independence. Improved connectivity in transport and communication, education and health have speeded up the pace of urbanization. Ninth, the stable macro economy. The Indian economy has been projected and considered as one of the most stable economies of the world. The current year's economic survey represents the Indian economy to be a haven of macroeconomic stability, resilience and optimism. According to the economic survey for the year 2014-2015, 8% plus GDP growth rate has been predicted, with the actual growth turning out to be a little less. 7.6%. This is a clear indication of the stable macroeconomic growth. 10th, demographic dividend. The human capital of India is young. This means that India is a pride owner of the maximum percentage of youth. The young population is not only motivated by skilled and trained enough to maximize the growth, thus human capital plays a key role in maximizing the growth prospect in the economy. Also, this has invested foreign investment to the country and outsourcing opportunities too. Students, next we will discuss weakness of Indian economy. First weakness, large population. India stands second in terms of size of population next to China, and our country is likely to overtake China in near future. Population growth rate of India is very high, and this is always a hurdle to growth rate. The population growth rate in India is as high as 1.7 per thousand. Annual addition of population equals to the total population of Australia. Second, inequalities and poverty. There exists a huge economic disparity in Indian economy. The proportion of income and assets owned by top 10% of Indian goes on increasing. This has led to an increase in the poverty level in the society, and still a higher percentage of individuals are living below poverty line. As a result of unequal distribution of the rich become richer and poor become poorer. Third, increasing price of essential goods. Even though there has been a constant growth in the GDP and growth opportunities in the Indian economy, there have been steady increase in the price of essential goods. The continuous rise in the price erodes the purchasing power and adversely affects the poor people whose income is not protected. Fourth, weak infrastructure. Even though there has been a gradual improvement in the infrastructural development in the past few decades, there is still a scarcity of the basic infrastructure like power, transport, storage, etc. Fifth, inadequate employment generation. With the growing youth population, there is a huge need of the employment opportunities. The growth in production is not accompanied by creation of job. The Indian economy is characterized by jobless growth. Sixth, outdated technology. The level of technology in agriculture and small-scale industries is still outdated and obstacles. Students, lastly, we will discuss demographic trends in India. Scientific study of the characteristics of population is known as demography. The various aspects of demographic trend in India are size of population, rate of growth of population, birth and death rates, density of population, sex ratio, life expectancy at birth, literacy ratio. First, size of population. Size of population over a period of 100 years. In terms of size of population, India ranks second in the world after China. India has only about 2.4% of world geographical area and contribution less than 1.2% of world income, but accommodates about 17.5% of world population. In other words, every sixth person in the world is an Indian. In fact, the combined populations of just two states, namely Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, is more than the population of United States of America, the third most populous countries of the world. Some of the states in India have larger population than many countries in the world. The negative growth during 1911 up to 21 was due to rapid and frequent occurrence of epidemics like cholera, plague and influenza, and also famines. This year 1921 is known as the year of Great Divide for India's population, as population starts increasing. During 1951, population growth rate has come down from 1.33% to 1.25%, hence it is known as a year of small divide. In 1961, population of India started increasing at the rate of 1.96%, that is 2%. Hence 1961 is known as a year of population explosion. In the year 2001, the population of India crossed 1 billion 100 crores mark. The 2011 census reveals growth of youth population, which is described as demographic transition. Second, birth rate and death rate. Birth rate, it refers to the number of birth per thousand of population. Death rate, it refers to the number of death per thousand of population. Birth rate was 39.9 in 1951. It fell to 21.8 in 2011. Although the birth rate has declined, the decline is not so remarkable. The death rate has declined from 27.4 in 1951 to 7.1 in 2011. However, from the death, it is clear that the fall in birth rate is less than that of death rate. Kerala has the lowest birth rate 14.4 and Uttar Pradesh has the highest birth rate 29.5. West Bengal has the lowest death rate 6.3 and Orissa 9.2 has the highest. Among states, Bihar has the highest decadal 2001 up to 2011 growth rate of population, while Kerala has the lowest growth rate. The four states Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, called Bimaru states, have very high population. Third, density of population. It refers to the average number of population residing per square kilometer. It represents the man-land ratio. As the total land area remains the same, an increase in population causes density of population to rise. Density of population is equal to total population by land area of the region. Just before independence, the density of population was less than 100, but after independence, it has increased rapidly from 117 in 1951 to 325 in 2001. According to 2011 census, the present density of population is 382. Thus, the pressure of population on land has been rising. Kerala, West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh have density higher than the India's average density. Bihar is the most density populated state in the country with 1,102 persons living per square kilometer, followed by West Bengal with 880. Arunachal Pradesh has low density of population of only 17 persons. Next, sex ratio. It refers to the number of females per 1,000 males. It is an important indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equity between males and females at a given point of time. In India, the sex ratio is more favorable to male than the females. In Kerala, the adult sex ratio is 1084 as in 2011. The recent census 2011 shows that there has been a marginal increase in sex ratio. Haryana has the lowest sex ratio of 877 in the year 2011 among other states, while Kerala provides better status to women as compared to other states with 1084 female per 1000 males. Next, life expectancy at birth. It refers to the mean expectations of life at birth. Life expectancy has improved over the year. Life expectancy is low when death rate is high and or instance of yearly death rate are high. On the other hand, life expectancy is high when death rate is low and or instance of yearly death are low. During 1901 up to 1911, life expectancy was just 23 years. It increased to 63.5 years in 2011. A considerable fall in the death rate is responsible for improvement in the life expectancy at birth. However, the life expectancy in India is very low compared to that of developed countries. Next, literacy ratio. It refers to the number of literates as the percentage of the total population. In 1951, only 1/4 of the males and 1/12 of the females were literates. Thus, on the average, only 1/6 of the people of the country were literates. In 2011, 82% of males and 65.5% of females were literates, given an overall literacy rate of 74.04% in the year 2011. When compared to the other developed countries and even Sri Lanka, this rate is very low. Kerala has the highest literacy rate, 92%, followed by Goa 82%, Himachal Pradesh 76%, Maharashtra 75% and Tamil Nadu 74%. Bihar has the lowest literacy rate, nearly 53% in 2011. That's all for today. We will continue in the next class. Finish the assignment by clicking the link below.
Yeah.